Band directors, this is how to change the head cork in your flute in a safe way. For those of you less familiar with the anatomy of the flute, here's our head joint. In the very top of it, there is a cork. You can't see it, but we'll see it in a minute when we take it apart. Now, first things first, how do you know when you need to change your head cork? Usually it's because your flute's leaking somewhere, but you can't find it on the keys. It's probably the cork in the head joint. Here's how we check to see, is it leaking? We take our embouchure plate and cover the hole there. We're gonna take our mouth and put it around the end of the flute. We're gonna create a vacuum by sucking in and holding that air. And you can feel a solid vacuum where we don't lose any air. Now, this flute doesn't need its head cork changed, but it's gonna sacrifice its head cork for the purpose of this video. Here is everything you will need to do this. It doesn't require a lot. First up, let's talk about this tool. It's a piece of Delrin that I ordered off Amazon that I cut a notch into and colored black and drilled a hole in the end. That's it. If you don't want to order Delrin off Amazon, just use an old drumstick. That works perfectly well. If you want to make this tool, just take your old drumstick, measure 17.3 millimeters from the end and draw a line, and then cut a notch and drill a hole as close to the center in that end as possible. It doesn't have to be exact, just as close to the center as possible. Now, if we look at our head joint, you'll see these ridges on the top. This is actually the crown, and it can unscrew. We're going to take the crown all the way off, and inside we will see the cork assembly. You see that little rod poking up out of it. This is where the hole you drilled in your drumstick's going to come in handy. We're going to take our tool that we made, or a drumstick, or whatever. We're going to insert the rod into the hole. We're just going to push out the cork. This takes it out safely because you're not putting any pressure on the stem of this because you have that hole that goes around it and presses against the plate here. Then we're going to take our fingers and just unscrew the plate that's holding the top here. You might need to use a plier to grab it. That's easy enough, but if you have to use a plier, just make sure you're being safe and not scarring up the threads of the metal. So we're just going to unscrew this plate until it's all the way off. Now we're left with the cork on the threaded rod. Getting the cork off can sometimes be difficult, so you might want to get a slip joint tooth plier and grab around the bottom metal plate and then twist off the cork until it comes off. And then you use a scraper tool to scrape off the rest of the cork, or a flathead screwdriver, or whatever you have. I'm going to use my scraper tool. And that's it. Then we have a cleaned off assembly. Now, this next step is optional. Some techs would argue that it's not optional. However, I've seen plenty of techs do it without doing this, but we're going to glue the cork down. I usually use soft shellac. However, soft shellac's a little difficult to find if you're not a tech. So here is the contact cement that you can easily get from hardware stores. Now, as always, the way contact cement works is we paint it on to both surfaces, let it fully dry, and then adhere them together, and it forms an instant seal where it sticks together. Then, like I said, we coat the bottom of our cork. Now let them dry. It takes like 10 minutes. Go eat a sandwich, go walk around, do something else. It's been 10 minutes. We put our pieces back together, and look, they won't come apart, which is exactly where we want them. Now we're going to take our faceplate and thread it back on all the way, and we want to make sure it's really nice and snug on there, as tight as you can get it onto that cork. Now you're going to take the cork grease of your choice. I don't recommend lanolin for this. I know, right? I recommend lanolin for everything. I don't recommend lanolin for this for a number of reasons, but to get into it, cork grease is just a better material. So we're going to take plenty of cork grease and rub it all the way around this cork, getting it extra well greased. Now we're going to take thread side down, facing the bottom of the flute, drop it in, take our rod that we marked, that 17.3 millimeters, that's the measurement we need, and press in, and then watch, the cork will go by, and then the rod starts to go by, and then you see the line. We want that line to be in the center of the embouchure plate. And we can get that lined up by placing our crown on the threads and pressing the opposite direction, so we're a little bit off center right now. That looks pretty good. We screw in our crown, take our lip plate out. We have changed our head cork. It's easy, it takes a little bit of time, and it's very cheap to do. I think head corks run at like $2 per head cork. At a shop, they're gonna charge you like $30 to $50 to change your head cork. Okay, go change your head corks. Bye-bye.